are listening to Real Estate Today. To reach Deb Tomaro or with questions and comments about the show, please send an email to Deb at realrealestatetoday.com. That's Deb at realrealestatetoday.com. Now, back to this week's program.
All right, welcome back. We are on part 2 of our seller seminar that we're going to be doing over the next 4 shows. And so the first segment that we just talked about was picking a realtor, coming at it from a seller perspective. We talk a lot about it coming from a buyer perspective, but some questions you should ask. Part 2, next thing you need to do if you are a seller. So you've got your realtor chosen. Now you need to think about what your transition strategy is going to be. And we're going to use the word strategy a lot here in the beginning of the seller seminar because a lot of it is sort of strategizing. For most of my sellers, it's important to not be homeless. But it can be really overwhelming to figure out how you're going to do that because when you're selling, you're usually going somewhere else. So you basically have 4 options. And I would say that it's important to note that not all options work in all markets. So the first option is one that a lot of people come to me and say, well, I just need to buy a house but make it contingent on the sale of mine. And we laugh and laugh and laugh. No, we don't laugh, but we kind of snort. And then in today's seller's market and go, yeah, it's probably not going to work because there's just such a shortage of homes. So a contingent offer is that you're making an offer contingent on the sale of your home. This does not lock out the competition, meaning they're going to continue to market the house the seller is, even if you have a deal put together. And if they can find another buyer, then they'll basically go back to you and say, do you want the house or not? And if you want it, you have to move forward. So it can involve a lot of heartbreak. And so that's what I mean by that's not always appropriate in all markets. I would say 8 or 9 years ago, it would have worked fairly well in a lot of markets when we were in a buyer's market and didn't have the housing shortage. Now, before I get into all 4 of these, they all start with C: contingent, confidence, couch. I came up with a new one for the 4th because I always had 3, right? You remember this, Karen. You've been through this before, right? Your contingent option, the confidence option, the couch option. And I adore when I have clients, like I give them stuff or they listen to this and then they go, we think we're going to go with the confidence option. They use my terminology and it makes me feel really important, like I should win a Nobel Prize or something. But there was a 4th one. I was like, sometimes you could try this and see what happens. And I didn't have a name for it. So I have a name for it now. It's the can you hang tight option.
Okay.
Can you hang tight? That's what it is. So we'll see what that means. One of the big things before you even pick your options is figuring out your financing. So that's if you are buying another house, which is usually what most people are doing. So if you are buying another house, Karen, what's the biggest thing that's the trip up with financing in this situation if you're a seller and then going to be a buyer?
And you're wanting to keep,
in general.
That is, if people are wanting to keep their house or sell their house after they've bought the new house, then the payments, they need to qualify with all the payments and those, is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
No, I know, I'm being tricky.
Everything else too that could potentially go wrong. But
there's 6,000 things I have to do, Deb. Have you seen my files, right?
Yeah.
No, but basically, in order for some of these options to work, you have to be able to qualify for the new mortgage while still carrying the old mortgage. So your debt to income ratio becomes really, really important. And the one thing I've seen this year tripping up a lot of people is that they can qualify debt to income wise, but they don't have the down payment money. And I think we've probably had a lot of conversations like that.
Yeah, I've seen that too. But they also know that, whatever their goal is, like you said, if they need to move, then they figure out how to get like gift funds or whatever.
So there are strategies and you need to figure that out with your lender because most people, their down payment is coming from the equity they have in their current home. But if their current home hasn't sold yet, then they have to sort of come up with a temporary means of acquiring down payment, which may be gift money, borrowing from a 401k or something like that. So it's important to have that conversation is with your lender and start to figure that out too. But let's go over these 4 options because I'm probably going to run out of time again like I do every freaking segment. Okay. So contingent, making an offer contingent on the sale of your home. The pro is that it can buy you some time to get your house sold. You can say, give me 30 to 45 days. Let me see if I can get my house sold so that I don't have 2 mortgage payments kind of thing. So that can work well. But the negative is that it doesn't lock out other buyers from trying to buy your dream home. So it can be super disappointing. You may have to pay a little bit of premium for a seller to even sort of consider doing that. You may end up paying a little bit more for the house to get that special consideration. It's going to be a flat out no from a lot of sellers unless the house has been on the market for a little while. So I've had a few cases this year where I've looked and I've said, well, this house has been on the market for like 3 months. So if we want to try a contingent offer, I would be open to that. But if the house is 1 day on the market, which is what a lot of them are, doing a contingent offer is probably not going to fly. And you may feel backed into a corner when you go to sell your house to take the first offer that comes along because you don't want to lose your dream home. So you got to kind of be prepared for that. You have to do what the buyer asks you to do on inspections or you lose your dream home. So it's just a little bit different mindset. It's typically relatively stressful. So to be honest, most of my clients don't go with this offer, this option, even in different markets, even, 6 years ago. This is just not, I don't know why. I mean, people come and they say, yeah, we want to do this. And then you explain it to them and they're like, oh, maybe not. Maybe I don't want to do it. I think a lot of people think that the contingent offer, contingent on the sale of my home, is that it locks out everyone completely. And it just gives me, a couple months to get my house sold and the sellers are going to wait for me. And that's not typically how it works.
Yeah. And on the lending side too, I think that it's for that seller wanting, that making that decision to go ahead and carry both mortgages and take that leap of faith. But if they have picked the right realtor who is saying your house is going to sell rather quickly as soon as it does list, and if they can kind of trust their gut with that and go with it, most of the time it works out. Yeah. Like it will get sold.
Yeah. So that's option number one. Option number two is what I call the confidence option, which means you buy your dream home and then you put your old house up for sale. Now, this is where you definitely have to be able to qualify for both mortgages. You have to be able to come up with a down payment. But this is the one the majority of my clients do because it's sort of the easiest in terms of living your life. And you have kids and you have pets and things like that. So the pro is that you can take all the time you need to find the right home. And I have several clients doing this right now. We have everything about their current home ready. We've got all the pictures done. We're ready to list it. And we're just taking our time finding the right home for them to move into. And they're able to make offers quickly because it doesn't have to be contingent on anything. And then we're ready to just get their house sold. You can stage your home. And that was one thing. One of my clients, they have like a newborn baby and they have a dog. So they just want to get moved and get out of the house and have it staged and not have to worry about, keeping it clean for selling. The negative is that obviously you've got a risk of double payments and you have to be able to qualify for that new loan. So that is one option. Another option that more clients than I realize do, or than I would think do, I call the couch option, which is you sell your house first and then you sleep on a couch until you find a place to go. I've had quite a few clients, and living with your mother-in-law is a great motivation to buy a house and all of a sudden become not so picky. I've had a few clients like that. The positive is that you can focus on one thing at a time. And there are a lot of people like, I just want to focus. I have some clients doing that right now. We put their house up last week. They moved out completely into a friend's garage apartment, rehomed just temporarily, farmed some animals out with some, friends and stuff, because they said we can't be there and we just don't even want to think about, we got 5 offers on the house over the weekend. And so on Sunday I was like, are you ready to start looking now? Because they were just one thing at a time. And they're like, I don't know. I think we need a couple more weeks to just get through inspections and everything. So that's the nice thing. You focus on one thing at a time. You're not pressured to find your dream home. You're not pressured about having double payments. You just have to sleep on a couch. And you have to move twice. And it can be hard to find a short-term rental if you don't have relatives. So that can be a downside too. And then my new one, which we've done a little bit of this year, option 4, can you hang tight a sec? And this is asking the buyer. So you put your house up on the market. You're the seller. You put your house up on the market. You get an offer. And you say to the buyer, could you give me a month to see if I can find a place to go to? And you make it contingent on you, the seller, finding suitable housing. And so none of the timelines, inspections, nothing like that happens until that agreed upon timeline it comes due, where you say, okay, I'm ready to move forward. I found a place to go. So that can buy you some time as well, but not all buyers are going to be willing to do this. And so if you say, give me 30 days, I did one, it's been a few years. He wanted 21 days. And then at the end of 21 days, he said, I need like 3 more days because we're negotiating and I need to see if I can get it together. And we're like, all right. The nice thing was my buyers weren't pressured. They didn't have to move right away. Mm-hmm. They had time to do that. Not all buyers are going to be times. Yeah, so that can be done as well. So that's you say, the seller saying to the buyer, can you just hang tight for a second? Let me see if I can work something out over here. That certainly can be an option too. But I think the most used option is the confidence option, just having faith it's all going to work out. Budgeting to have double payments for a few months, although usually you don't have to if the seller's market is hot like it is now. We usually can get that house sold pretty quickly. And then the second most is the couch option. So that although moving twice sucks, being pressured to buy a home that maybe isn't your dream home sucks even more. Most of my clients are kind of looking for their dream home where they're going to be for 10 years. They've got their first home. It's good. Their family's grown. Now they need a bigger home, and they don't want to go anywhere until the kids are grown. So they want to take a little more time to do that. So those are the strategies. You need to figure out your plan A and your plan B. I always tell my clients, have a plan B just in case, because it's always good to have a backup plan. It'll keep you calmer and saner throughout the process. I make it sound painful. It's not that bad. Well,
no, but like I'm like, I think my blood pressure has increased sitting. I'm just thinking in the eyes of a seller, like having to hurry up and do this and do that, or as a buyer, like that's just like too much right now.
Oh, thanks for the vote of confidence.
No, but what I'm saying is, I think I would be the can you hang tight person. Yeah. I would be like, wait a minute, I can only, do
one thing
at a time.
Yeah, right. And so you have to figure out the plan that works best for you, and you need to have that conversation with your realtor so they can help you reach your goals and understand why you're making the decisions you're making. All right, that is the end of that segment. We are going to take a break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Real Estate Today, your home for smart real estate.